And the second half of the chapter is about logical files. Our main focus for today will be keyed sequence or arrival sequence, keyed sequence versus arrival sequence, and then unique. That's basically our main emphasis for today. And something I wanted to share with you guys before we move on. Let's see. So we have our midterm coming starting next week. So the midterm exam will be available to you from the 20th through 27th. We are not meeting in class. That should give you a little bit of extra time, the whole class duration, to work on the midterm. The midterm is not due within the class duration, but that would be a good time for you to set aside to start working on the midterm. The midterm will comprise of multiple parts. I'll explain that a little bit more towards the end of the class, but I just wanted to give you guys a heads up about next week. So the assignments and the assignment and the quiz that I will assign you today will be due by the 20th. So between 20th through 27th, midterm is the only activity you would need to be working on. So it is very important for you to have a good grasp on the hands-on, because the midterm will have a hands-on like an assignment, and will also have a multiple choice like your quizzes. And again, we'll talk more about it towards the end of the class. So that's why under the units, we are covering unit number 6 today, and the midterms are coming. Okay, for now, it's only these two people waiting. But right below that, there will be a midterm next week. Okay? So I am right now diving into unit number 6. So we will be looking at ASAP versus KSAP, keyed files, and unique. We went over reference members last week, right?
I'm pretty sure we did.
Yeah. So we'll do a review of that along with some other items. So if you may click on this link, the very first link under PowerPoints, and that will open up this document. First of all, what is the whole point of reference? The whole point of reference is that you want to have a repository. The whole purpose of the repository is to have a bunch of fields with their description, and any other data file that needs a field description, it can borrow that field description from that repository. Why would you want to do that? Well, mostly it is done when you have a lot of common fields. So you can put them all in one place, and then you can share them with multiple members. Is it required for a member to borrow all the fields from a reference file? No. You can borrow whatever fields you need. Also, if you think that a borrowed field doesn't really fit your requirement is smaller or larger than the borrowed field, you can decide to write your own description. So let's for example, for the sake of understanding, let's say this is the member called inform SP15, placed inside a source physical file called SP15786SY. Now this member has a record format called recinfo and has following fields. Each field has a description of a data type and a field length. So we compile this member and the object gets created. Now, this is the whole purpose of this member is to be treated as a repository when it becomes an object. So now I start creating other members. Notice my other members that I create are referencing that first member that was created by calling a built-in function ref, followed by the name of that member, inform SP15, inform SP15. After that, notice the user ID, the city, and the state. They are the same fields between the two members. So I want to borrow the description. So I'm using R. And then for the fourth field, email, there is no email in the Inform SP15. So that's why email, I'm writing my own description. Okay. Forget about line 7 for now. We will learn about that today. Then you will understand what line 7 means. You compile it, the member is done. Okay. Now look at another member here. Also tapping into Inform SP15, but all the fields are the borrowed field. There's no field that is not borrowed. So that's also a possibility. Compile it, and the member will be created. Okay. So that's basically, this document shows you how to create a member and then how to create other members that will reference from it. So always remember, when you're creating a referenced members, the ref call is on the first line, and all other lines start with record format plus the field description. So the first line is reference only. Then if you click on the second link, which is a PowerPoint, look at this. This is my record format, and these are my fields. Each field has a data type and a length. This is my repository. What did I call this? refmember.pf. Okay, look at the second slide. In the second slide, I'm referencing this member, and I'm borrowing the fields, for which I'm using R for every field that gets borrowed. And on the third slide, I have two fields, and they're both borrowed. So, another example that shows that. Okay. Now, today's unit, if you scroll down further, you will see Review Activity 1. Click on that. I want you to go to the green screen. In the source physical file that we created last week, that was FA23, your initials. Everybody remember that? FA23, your initials, and AA. That was the name of that. In that source physical file, I want you to create a member by the name of Inform FA20 with the following description. Compile it and make sure it is done correctly. Okay, so I will stop sharing my screen, and I will give everybody 10 to 15 minutes to complete this activity. When you're done with this activity, you give me a green check. So if I get green check from everybody before 15 minutes, then we'll move on to the next item. So this is under Unit 6, Review Activity 1. So your time starts now. So I will check back in 10 minutes to see if I will give you 10 minutes just to yourself to try to figure out the solution without any help from me. And then for the last 5 minutes, I will see if anybody needs help. Hi, Elijah. How are you? We are working on an activity under Unit 6, activity number 1. Halftime has already passed that I've assigned that activity. In the next few minutes, the activity number 1 time will be up. So get started on it. Okay, guys, so we have some people already done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people are done. Okay, I know Jose is logged in through 2 devices, so we'll not count him as 2, we'll count him as 1. So we have Gavin, Caleb, Kyle, Emilio, Emily, and Dylan Farias left. Okay, Elijah joined in later on, so we will not consider him because he was not there to start with the activity. So the rest of you, where are you in terms of completing the activity? Gavin, Caleb, Emilio, Emily, and Dylan. Please update. Just finished up. Finishing, putting in fields. Okay. Okay. Okay, Emilio. Got it. Okay, Emily. Thank you for the update. So hopefully in the next 2-3 minutes, everybody will be done with the activity 1. Okay, so except for Caleb, okay. Emilio, can you share your screen, please? And Caleb, can you please update us on your status of completion? Okay, guys, we will now be starting with chapter number 8. Chapter number 8 will be done in the next several weeks, but we will only be looking at pages 328 all the way through page 333 today. So our focus for today will be pages 328 through 333. So only 6 pages. In this chapter, mainly the chapter talks about logical files, which we will look at on the 27th, because next week is your midterm. And as I told you earlier, that we will not be meeting, your midterm will be available to you on from 20th through 27th for that one whole week. The assignment and the quiz that I assign you today will be due by the 20th, and from 20th to 27th, you will be working on your midterm. It's very important for you to have a good grasp on the hands-on part of your midterm. For that very reason, I made you do so many examples, and we'll do some more examples today. So, in this chapter, we will be looking at arrival sequence access path and keyed sequence access path. Typically, when you create a physical file member, all the members that you have created as physical file members, and you add data to these members through data file utility, DFU, what happens is that in the absence of a special mechanism called key, your data is stored in the order in which the data arrives. So the first record that you enter will always be at the top. Kevin, I will talk about the details of that towards the end. Okay. Okay. So as I said earlier, so when we are talking about, sorry, I got disrupted. I lost my train of thought. Okay. So when the data gets stored in a physical file, the data, and if the physical file is not keyed, the data arrives in the same order that you enter the data. So the first record is at the top, the second record follows, third record follows that. And if your file grows pretty big, let's say 10,000 records or 5,000 records or 2,000 records, the retrieval rate becomes very slow. So because it has to check in sequence of arrival of the data. So by default, all the members that you have created so far are ASAP member, arrival sequence access path members. So it is pretty much like if I give you this IBM book that you use in this course and remove the index from the back of the book, and I ask you, I want you to look for so-and-so topic. Trying to find the topic in the book where there's no index will be so time consuming. That's exactly what happens in ASAP. To solve that problem, we have KSAP, Keyed Sequence Access Path. Keyed Sequence Access Path. So Keyed Sequence Access Path, pretty much what it does is, as your data arrives in the physical file member, it comes up with a very smart mechanism behind the scene to store the data in an efficient manner so that when you're retrieving the data from a large data set, the retrieval rate is faster. That's the main difference. Yes, Dylan. Because ASAP stands for Arrival Sequence Access Path, not as soon as possible. So Arrival Sequence Access Path versus Keyed Sequence Access Path. Those are the two concepts that we will be focusing on today. Now, when you make your field a key field, it only adds an index to the field, but it doesn't make the data entry unique. So for example, and let me back up from here and let me talk about one more concept. How do you make a decision which field to promote to the key status? The field that is most likely to have unique values is the field that's a good choice to be a keyed field. For example, for a typical book, in order for me to uniquely identify one book from another, title is not a good choice. Author name is not a good choice either. So that's why we have ISBN. So ISBN number would be a good field to be promoted to a key status. Okay. So that basically increases the likelihood of creating a good index, because the likelihood of two books having the same ISBN number is practically nil. Theoretically is there, but because of the nature of that, it's a good candidate for a key field. Now, just because the field is key field, as I told you, doesn't automatically means that it will be unique. Means you will not be allowed to enter duplicate values. I mean, like, that rule doesn't apply. You would have to apply another rule to make the field unique as well as make the field key. And there is an example in the book like that. If you look at page number 331, you will look at this example that I am sharing with you on my screen here. Okay. If you look at this file, this member, you will see it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It has 11 fields. Out of all the 11 fields, which field is a good candidate to have unique values? Yep, definitely employee number. Because two people can have the same last name, same first name. It is quite possible two people from the same address are coming and working at the workplace. They may have the same department. They may have the same salary. I don't know. Their hire date may be same. Well, of course, their birth date will not be same, but there's a likelihood of the two people with the same birth date are working at the same place too. So employee number is a good candidate for a unique thing. So that's why employee number is promoted to the key status. Now, think about it, like, I mean, oops, where'd that go? Here. Okay, forget about that there was no unique. Let's say there was nothing unique. And this was just everything what you see right here. This is let's say if this is all you had. So when you were doing the data entry, the likelihood of you having two employees called 1 or two employees called 2, it would be possible. The member itself would not force you from not having that. But when you apply the unique keyword along with the key keyword, that automatically, that combination would allow only that particular field which has a key status on it to have unique values. Only that field. All other fields can have duplicate values. Only that one field can have only unique values. No duplicates are allowed. So that's the benefit of having a unique and a key. Okay. Now I want to clear some doubts here before I get to questions. Okay. Is it possible to have a unique and not have a key? No. That's not even an option on the table. You must have a key field already defined in the member before you can use the word unique at the top. Otherwise, it'll give you an error. The second question arises is, okay, is it a requirement to always use unique when you're having a key field? No, that's not even a requirement either. The only reason you would use unique and a key combination if you want the key field to not have duplicates. Third question is, okay, can I have more than one fields in a key status? Yes. You can have multiple fields to be considered as a key. And in order for you to do that, you would have to list all of them to the key status. And before I, again, go to the questions, let me show you that in the next slide. And let me increase the size of this picture here, bigger. Okay. And as you can see over here, that there are two fields that are promoted to the key status. So that basically also shows you that if you have more than one fields that you want to promote to the key status, you would want to mention K next to both of them. Okay, so that's the third thing. The fourth thing that I want to talk about here is that if you have multiple keys, that means only those two fields can have the unique values. No other field can have unique values, forced unique values, but only the keyed fields. And also, there's one more point I want to talk about. I just had it in my mind, it just slipped. Let me think. I just had it in my mind, just slipped. And the unique keyword will be on a line of its own. Oh yeah, here I go. Okay. Now, some of you would be like, okay, if I have decided to make employee number my key field, can I just not write K right here next to it? And why have another line? Well, to answer that question, you can't do that. It will be an error. According to the syntax of this file, key and declaration, two concepts cannot be merged. You would always, according to the syntax, will first declare all your fields. Only then you can promote the fields that you want to be the key fields towards the end. So you can't merge the two concepts. You have to first declare all the fields. Only then you can promote some of those fields towards the bottom to the key status. Okay, now let's get to the questions if you have any. Yes, Dylan, go ahead.
If you have two key fields, can you make, and you specify unique, that automatically makes both of them unique? You can't just have one of them unique and one of them
No, you can't have one of them unique. No, then all the key fields automatically are unique if you use the word unique. You can't pick and choose.
What could you just specify it in a different file, physical file, and reference?
Then you're changing the whole context, right?
Right.
Right. So within the same member, you can't have key fields where some are unique and some are not. You can't do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not even if it's a reference to a different.
No, it's pretty much like if you're buying a combo from McDonald's, you can't really say, give me the burger, charge me for the combo, but don't give me fries.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they would still take your money like that.
They would love to take your money, right? But they won't give you that. But typically people don't do that, right? You don't give free money to businesses and not take services. So it's the same deal, that unique applies to all the fields like a combo. Everything comes in a combo. You either take the whole combo, you cannot pick and choose. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else has any other question? Okay, guys, let's take a break here. 15 minutes, 7:55. When we come back, we will then start working with these members. Okay. So I'll see you guys at 7:55. We will now begin with what we learned before to implement using our green screen SEU environment. So the whole idea would be to now start creating members, which could be keyed members, and then also to implement unique in the second phase. We will first learn to create keyed members, and we'll then add the unique. So is everybody back, right? If you could give me a green check. So we don't have Xavier, Dylan, Farias, Caleb, Emilio, and Jose back.
I'm back. It's just it's difficult to use the phone with Zoom.
Okay. I know, but I was just looking for a green check. So that way, it makes it a little bit more easier for me to see who is responding and who is not. Okay, so how about Dylan and Xavier are the only two, and Emilio. Emilio, Dylan, and Xavier. Because once we start working on the hands-on part, if they arrive late, they'll be like, oh, what's going on? And then we would have to redo everything. And I don't want to do that. Okay. So Xavier is the only one not here. Caleb has not been responsive all evening. So I don't know if he's there or not, or what's going on. Okay, so let's get started then. So we will be creating our very first member, which we will then promote one of the fields to the key status. So STRSEU F4. The name of the source file, FA23 initials A. I'm using our very first one that we created 2 weeks ago. I'm using that A1. Okay. Library is current library. Member. We're going to call this one off printer. Office printer, so off printer. And the type is PF. I'll just wait for a few more seconds. Hopefully everybody can get everything done, and then we'll move on to our next screen, where we will start building this member. Okay. Hitting enter. F4. The first thing is the record format. What is the shortcut to insert a new line and also bring the prompt? So two things using the same approach. Same thing that can do both. Insert a new line and also bring the prompt without having to press F4. Let's see who remembers this from last week.
Isn't it like I4? Wouldn't that like work? Like if you want to put in 4 lines?
No. The shortcut brings in a new line and also automatically opens the prompt and keep the prompt open. You don't have to press I and the number. It's just like you do the shortcut and it keeps you in the prompt till you decide that you're done. You type IP, so that inserts and also brings prompt, IP, and hit enter. And notice what it does. It puts you in the prompt. You can just start building your fields. So serial number 5A. And as soon as I press enter, notice I'm in the prompt again. It automatically inserts a new line and keeps me in the prompt. Location. Floor. So these are my 3 fields. Out of all the 3 fields, which one is a good candidate for a key? Serial number, definitely. Okay. So under name type, I'll type K. And under the name, I'll type serial number. So in the same place where you type R is the same place where you will now type K, serial number, and hit enter. So K and R in the same column, and serial number is done. Repeat it again. When you're done, you exit out of here by pressing F3, and you hit enter. Then you go to strpdm. You work with members. And then you compile the member. And then you can check to see if the member was done normally. And how can you do that? Okay. And there's another way to do it. In the column OPT, next to where it says off printer, type D and the letter P, DP, and hit enter. That will also do the same job as display message, DP. And when you hit enter, it does the same thing. Oh, sorry, 1 second. Oh, no, sorry, DM. DM, not DP, sorry, DM. DM will do the same thing. So either you type the display message command at the bottom or type DM next to the item. Okay, now let's create another member. By the way, is everybody done with this one, right? So if you guys can give me green checks, everybody. So I know that you're done, and then we can move on to the next one so that nobody's behind. Xavier, Emilio, Dylan. Okay, so except for Xavier, everybody else is done. Okay. Okay, so we will now click STRSEU and press F4. And this will be FA23 initials A. Library is current library. Let's say we want to create maybe let's say I want to create hospital. Hospital. Hospital PF. Yeah, Dylan, we're done with our office printer for now. For now, we're done, but we will revisit. Okay. So I wrote something in the text portion, and also keep in mind that the word text is a function and there's no space between the T of text and the parentheses. It's just a description, right? Okay. Hold a second. What did I do here? Oh, I wrote an underscore by mistake. There we go. Okay. Oh, I may have to shorten the length. Let me go back. And yeah, that's better. So hospital name. City. State. Zip code. Phone. Okay. So these are the fields. Which field should be my key field? Absolutely. Okay, location ID. Oops. Let's have more than one keys for this one. What do you think could be another good candidate for a key? Phone number? But typically we don't search for hospitals by phone numbers, right? Name. Yeah, name could be another one. Usually they have unique names. Okay. So once you have both fields done for the key, exit out of here, compile it, and make sure that it's compiled successfully. Now, if you're back here in the PDM, press F5 to refresh the screen, and then you will see hospital, choose 14, enter, and then use DM, enter, and it was completed normally. And give me a green check when you're done.
What was the last key? That
Oh,
wasn't
oh,
mostly getting-
name.
It was name.
Yeah, yeah.
So K name.
yeah. So
Okay.
I'll show you again what it looks like. Here, like this.
All right, thanks.
Mhm. So keyed members are faster in data retrieval. However, we do not want to overwhelm the file with too many keys, because then that also slows down, especially if you have fewer records, because the compiler has to spend so much time trying to figure out which key to apply. And then within that key, it has to then figure out the mechanism. It just gets more confusing. That's why I don't have too many keys, and only put keys on the fields that you really think users will include in their searches. So keep that in mind when you're applying keys. It's pretty much like if I give you a book, which is like 20 pages, and give you like 4 different indexes on it. You may spend so much time trying to figure out which index to use, and then use an index and then get to the page versus a 20-page book. You could easily locate the item much faster. That's exactly what happens when you have a small data set and too many keys. So keys should typically be used with larger data sets, and we prefer not to use too many keys. Oh, yeah, Oliver, we'll do that. Show you. Okay. These are the fields, Oliver. Let me know when you're done. And for anybody else who wants to see, these are the fields. And also, this is an example of having a composite key. Composite key. So I'll write in the chat. Composite key means that your member has multiple keys. So if a member has multiple keys, it's called composite keys. It's just a terminology. Okay, now comes another question. Let's say you're applying key on a field or a combination of fields where there is a possibility that they will be duplicates. There will be duplicates. In that situation, you cannot use unique. So let's go back to our PowerPoint here. In this case, on slide number 14, there is a possibility that two people may have the exact same first names, or two people may have the exact same last names, or two people have the same first name and the same last name. All of these possibilities are there. In that case, unique will force the person or your employee to first change the name and then be hired, which doesn't really make sense, right? So in those situations, we use a different keyword instead of unique. It's called FIFO. What does that mean? That means the employee who is entered first is retrieved first, and the employee who is entered later is retrieved later. So that's basically another way to implement your keys, where you don't want them to be unique, but you want them to be retrieved faster. So that's a FIFO. So it still organizes them nicely because of the keys, but for any keys that are duplicates, it doesn't forces them to not have duplicates. It still let them have duplicate, but in case of duplicate values, it comes with a different mechanism, which is FIFO, to grab the first in, first out. That's what FIFO is, first in, first out. You could also have another one called LIFO, last in, first out. You could also apply that mechanism as well. Okay. So now let's make some modifications to existing members. So what we will do is, let's go next to the Office printer and choose, what option should I choose if I want to make changes to Office printer?
2.
Okay. So now I will go to line number 1, the very first line.
Miguel, ¿puedes pegar la consola?
Say again?
Oh, sorry. Never mind. Sorry.
Oh. So everybody should be in Office printer. Oops, sorry. I exited out. Okay. So everybody should be here. And what we will do is we will go to line. I'm getting reconnected. Okay, we'll go to line 0001 and we will type I1 and hit enter. Kyle, what are you asking? Sorry, I'm not following. Oh, these A's. Oh, these A's are there because all of these fields were entered through a automatic mechanism of IP. So we let the system generate new lines. So these are all system generated lines versus, and you can see the difference now. As I inserted a new line here and I press F4, notice it did not write A next to it because it was forced insertion versus an auto-generated insertion, okay? So I will rewrite the first line on the second line because I cannot insert a line before the first line. That's a problem. So I had to copy my first line onto my second line, which is a new line. And notice there is no A next to it because it was forced. And now I'll go back to my first line and press F4 and delete everything on that first line. And in the functions, I will type the word unique. Okay, so this is the only way out where you insert a blank line under the first line. And then, I copied the contents from the first line to the second line. Then I went back to the first line and pressed F4 on the first line to delete everything else and add the word unique in the functions. And then hit enter. You could do that too. You could do that too. Either way, you would have to. And the only reason I left it out there, because some people are like, oh, I forgot what my record format name was. Just to save that, oh, I forgot. I did that. But typically, you will never do something like this. Typically, you will have everything in front of you when you're starting to design your members. So you will know ahead of time that you will have the unique implementation. And only for learning's sake, I'm doing it this way, so that you know how to edit a member and you learn how to insert a line above the first line in case you ever have to do that. Okay. Okay, so when you guys are done with making this change, exit out of here. Is that enough, or should I recompile?
Recompile.
Recompile. Okay, so exit out of here, save the changes, recompile, and this time it will give me an error message or a warning message, sorry, saying, do you want to delete the last one? Yes. Choose yes. And then it does the work. You can check by using DM to see that Office printer was completed normally. Okay, done. It's constantly asking me to connect again. I don't know if any of you is facing something similar. Hopefully not. Oops. Ah. You can't insert a line above. So what you will do is you will insert a line below by typing I1 on the very first line. And then you will copy the first line onto the second line by pressing F4 and then typing RECPRT on the second line. And then you will go back to the first line and delete everything, but include the word unique in the functions. And let me know when you're caught up. Well, because it was added afterwards. It was added, so it's basically is an indicator that that line was added afterwards. It's one line that's added after. So it was not part of the original member. Okay, awesome. Emilio, you are also caught up. And Xavier, both Dylan's. Emily is caught up. Emilio is the only one. I don't see check next to Emilio's name and Xavier's name. Okay. So guys, let's now create our next member. STR, SEU, and press F4. The name of the source file is FA23 initials A, current library. Source member this time will be sales FA23, and the source type is PF. And you press enter. Okay. Now in this one, we will start from the beginning. So we would not have to go back and modify. So I'm starting with the word unique to start with. REC sales. And I would have purchase number 3A, text purchase number, and what data type do we use for date, guys? Okay, and Jacob, where did you see that? Or did you remember it? Ah, awesome. Great. And for anybody who cannot remember it, what page in the book should they be looking at? No, Dylan. Let's see. Where are all the data types? Jacob got it. 192. Okay. So page 192 is where all the data types are listed. So remember this page number. You will need it quite often. if you do not remember the data types. And according to page 192, date is not Z, Jacob. Your memory deceived you. Yeah, it is L. Okay. So we'll just use L. We do not need any length because it's fixed. Purchase date. And here we have, okay. And then we will promote the purchase number to the keys, to the key status, not the R, key status. And then hit enter, just like that. So only 2 fields, not a big deal, 2 fields. One of them is a date, the other one is a character. And purchase number is unique key. So I cannot enter duplicate values for purchase number. Okay. Jose, yes, go ahead.
Yes, is date stored? I mean, not only date, time and time stamp. Are they stored as alphanumeric fields in the file?
They are stored behind the scene as, of course, alphanumeric, but that is underlying instruction. For us, they are date, time, and timestamp.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
And that leads me to a very, very interesting question. How many unique data types are out there? If you combine all the data types together, what do you think? How many are the root types from where all of the data types would have come? How many? I'm just looking for a number. It's a very interesting question. A lot of people don't know about this. How many data types are considered to be root types to all other data types? Any guess? Okay, Dylan says 3. Okay. Brett says 2. Okay, let's see. Let's hear from others. I'm not saying any of them who have already answered is right or wrong. Let's see if more people can join. 4. Okay, let's see. 5. Okay. 3. Okay, we have one more 3.
8.
8. 32. Oh my God. Only 2. Two data types are the root to all other data types. Yes. Okay. Can any one of you guess which 2 data types are root to all data types? Say it again.
0 and 1.
Sorry, I could not hear you properly. The voice is breaking up. Is it possible to in the chat?
Is it Boolean?
Okay, Boolean. And which other data type? It's just Boolean and which other?
Yeah, I mean indicator. That's the only other type that I can think of.
No, that's not the right answer though.
Yeah. Okay.
Anybody else would like to take a guess? What 2 data types are the root types for all other data types? Kyle, very close. If we can combine Kyle and Oliver's answer, then what do you guys think? Which two are the correct answer?
It's a chart and so numeric.
No, no. It's integer and floating point. Integer and floating point are the two root data types. All of the data types have come from these two types. Surprising, right? Their character is actually a subtype of integer. Character is a subtype of integer. Character is not a root, and string is a subtype of character. Now comes the question, how can you say that a character is a subtype of an integer? Because every time you type something on the keyboard, what does the keyboard has? Yup, ASCII number for it. That's how it knows which character you have pressed. So it's actually numeric behind the scene, which is an integer. So yeah, integer and floating point are the two root types. Okay. So hopefully everybody would have been caught up by now with this member. Let's exit from here, save the changes, refresh, compile, and display message, and it should be ready. And let me know when you are there by giving me a green check so that I can take you to the next activity. Okay, so still waiting for a few of you who have not given me green checks that you are done. Emilio, Xavier, Kevin. Xavier, Kevin, Jose, and Emilio. Okay. I don't know, Emilio and Xavier, if you guys are following or watching or you're there or not, I don't know. Caleb was in the similar boat and then he dropped from the connection. Anyway, our next step would be, guys, to enter data. And which utility do we use to enter data? Okay, let's type str dfu strdfu, and which option should I pick? 5. Okay, and the name of my file, what is that? No, that's my source physical file. Now I'm doing data entry. So the data entry is in a file that was just compiled. Yeah, okay. So that was sales FA23, right? Sales FA23. And that's when you press enter.
What's the command to get to that screen again?
STRDFU. Hit enter. And then choose option 5. Hit enter. And then the name of the file you can see right on my screen. It should be sales FA23. There.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Now notice the part number is there with length of 3. So I can enter 100 here. And notice the date. What do you think is the format of date here in this environment? Yeah, it is actually, you're right. It is 4. Yep, Dylan, it's ISO format. Okay. It is 4 for the year, 2 for the month, and then 2 for the date. That's basically the format. So if I want this to be purchased on a certain date, I can then enter that date here. Let's say 2023. I don't know, my connection. I don't know, my V2 Cloud is very slow. Are you guys experiencing something similar? So I'm pressing the keys, but it's not responding. Okay. Maybe it's my turn. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. This is better now. 2023 10/01. 2023 10/01, and then you hit enter. It goes to the next record, 101. 2023 10 10/10. Okay. And then you hit enter again. So I entered 100 for the first part, 101 for the second part, and I am hitting enter. And now let me try to enter part 101 again. And I can choose a different date, let's say October 11th, okay? Was purchase number unique? Yes, okay. So when I try to enter a value in a field which is declared to be a unique field because that was a key field, notice the error message that this cannot have a duplicate key. So the system knows and tells the person using the field, you can't do this. So let me change this to 102 and hit enter. Now it takes it. So F3 out of here, 3 records added. Yep, good enough. Okay, everybody got this? Now, let me share with you the details of your midterm that you will have next week. The midterm will be 2 parts. And as I said, under units, you will see under unit 6, right after the picture of Buzz Lightyear and Woody, you'll see the midterm. So the midterm exam will comprise of 2 parts. The first part has 30 multiple choice questions, where 25 of those questions will be 10 points each, and 5 of those questions will be 275, 5 points. It's a total of 275 points. So 5 questions, 5 points each, 25 questions, 10 points each, total 275 for the multiple choice part. The hands-on part, which will be similar to your homework assignment, where would you be asked to create a physical file with the given specifications, that's 125 points. So you will give me the screenshot of your physical file, remember, exactly like you do for your homework assignment. So those will be the 2 parts, and they will be available to you there. Okay, it'll be right here. That's where they will be available under this picture. So that's total 400 points for the midterm. Yes, Brett, correct. So that will give you all of that class time to work on the midterm. And the reason I do that, because, you know, there's no point of me asking you to come on Zoom and do it. You know, it just doesn't make sense. So why not give you that time to work on your own? And then it's not like it's due on the Fridays. You have the whole week to work on it, but get started on Friday, because some of you who are taking multiple classes with me, you have multiple midterms with me that week. So no, it's not timed, Kevin. As I said, in the multiple choice part, there are 30 multiple choice questions. 25 questions out of those are 10 points each. Let me write it in the chat. I think that'll be easier, okay, for you to see. So the hands-on part will be similar to your homework assignments, where I will ask you to create a source physical file. Then in that source physical file, create a member, and in the member, add a record format and add fields. I'll give you the specifications of the field. Then you exit, which is save, you compile, and then you make sure that it is compiled correctly. Then go into DFU to insert records. And then you give me the screenshot of your, what you may call it, your member, and screenshot of maybe one of the records from your DFU. So a couple screenshots would be fine. Okay. And it is not timed. As I told you, you have the whole week to do it. So none of the parts are timed, but you have to do it within the week. So don't tell me on the 27th that I need extra time, because the midterm is planned for 2 hours only, with times and a half for those people who need times and a half. So maximum you need 3 hours to do it. Some people actually get done with it in an hour, both parts. So I'm giving you a week to do it. So don't expect that you will come to me on the 27th and say, you know, I didn't do it in a week and I get another week to do it, because that's not fair. Yeah. Kevin, yes, yeah, that's fine. But remember, I will not help anybody with the midterm. Just remember that. Yes, I will show you that once we go back. Because sometimes people show me their midterm and ask me, am I doing this correctly? I can't answer that question. Or send me screenshots of their work and said, can you tell me what is the error here? I just can't get it done. No, I can't help you with your midterm problems. And Kevin, send me an email ahead of time so that I don't double book multiple people. So I will be able to tell you a time slot if there is somebody else. Okay, Kevin? Okay. So we are back in the green screen environment. Let me walk you through all the way so that you can see how you can view the data, as Oliver asked. So you are in STR-DFU. You choose option number 5. You write the name of the file that you want to see the data. Okay, now that you're inside, you will simply press page down and you have the data. Each page down will take you through one of the records. So page down will let you see the records that you have entered, and then you can take a screenshot of any one of them. Got it, Oliver?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Okay, okay. So that's why, since midterm is hands-on, so make sure you complete all your assignments and complete all your quizzes before you attempt your midterm, so that you have seen the questions about the subject matter at least once, and you have done the hands-on work yourself so that you know what to do. And again, you have all the documentation that I have given you available to you to use during the test. You could be using that Word document. Remember, I gave you step-by-step those 19 points. You have those available. You have my lecture videos available. You have my YouTube videos available. You have your book available. You have examples in the book to look at. So, I mean, like, the likelihood of you not doing it, and this is very similar to the stuff that we did anyway in class today. So the likelihood of you not being able to do is very little until and unless those people who have not been attending classes and not doing their work, or attending classes but not doing their work, those are the ones that usually struggle because they've not been doing what we have asked them to do. Okay. Does anybody else has any other question? No. Okay. So